I've heard of the Elliot Wave in relation to AMC and GME a lot the last few days. What do you think of that? And can you maybe explain what it basically means for a dummy? Okay, Julian, no problem. I'd be happy to. Right. So Elliot, back in the day, was one of the forefathers of modern technical analysis as we know it now. In fact, he was part of that whole classical technical analysis charting period there. The one that Peter Brandt, I suppose, is the godfather of these days. He's pretty much the only human being left alive that actually still uses the phrase classical charting. Because he's old, right? And I love the guy. And he, Elliot, went on to become known by some people, crazy as it is, he went on to become known as having had as big an impact on technical analysis theory as Dow with his Dow theory, right? Now that's quite big praise, okay, because he, well, you know, there's a lot of other good stuff around that same time. We had Dow himself, for instance. We had Wyckoff. We have so many people from back then that had their own ideas. Anyway, Elliot, this guy, when was it he published it, in like 1948 or something for the first time? Anyway, what he basically proposed was that markets tend to operate in a number of cycles. Okay, you're going to have a period of waves, he called them, and we can see this ourselves. It's not really that hard to imagine when we look at charts and we see things and we say, okay, so the prices were going around like this and then they went like that, and they kind of wave around. It goes up, we got a low, we got a high, we got a low, we got a high, we got a low, we got a high, we got a low, we got a high. Well, maybe this will happen a certain amount of times, and you can imagine how the whole sort of process started. So Elliot himself kind of was thinking to himself, oh, these charts go like this a lot of times. Maybe not curving to the left, but how could I apply a framework to this to fully understand the relationship between these highs and lows, right? So he came up with his wave theory, and he talked about how there are 88 waves along the course of an overall trend that will be broken up into many subwaves, and within each subwave there'll be subwaves, etc. And quite quickly, to be perfectly honest with you, it devolves away from being specific instructions about how to trade into sort of theoretical chit-chat about how markets move that I think every single human being with pattern recognition in their brains can see for themselves quite quickly anyway. But he came up with a number of rules about it, and the rules are the important part. Anyway, another thing with Elliot Wave is that he designed it all before really being introduced to the significance of Fibonacci sequence, and then Elliot Wave got expanded upon, okay, by people who came along later. Still called Elliot Wave, of course, but Elliot himself didn't come up with a lot of the chat for Elliot Wave at that point. There are a few different things about it are that, we'll say you've got prices and they're going like this, right? Right. So you maybe have 1, 2, 3, 4 peaks on this one, right? Okay, so what Elliot Wave works in terms of waves where you've got a wave that'd be 1, that'd be up to number 1, and then you'd have this one, that'd be wave 2, then you'd have this, and that'd be wave 3, then you'd have this, that'd be wave 4, and then you'd have this, and it'd be wave 5. Okay, so like that's how the waves work with that one, and then the relationship between them. So you'll often see that there is, but if you go up to the high here, that the pullback on 2 will be a certain Fibonacci number, and then the target for wave 3 is generally at its strongest, generally speaking, will be another Fibonacci number. And it's no coincidence then to see at the end of the day that the way that these numbers work out, generally speaking, and I can't actually draw it on my pretend chart here because it just doesn't work in terms of what I've drawn on, but you often see that this area here is the 618 Fibonacci retracement zone, right? That's what you'll see down there on wave 2. So you're going to have, you're going to have 0, you're going to have 1, so on, right, and so on. So you're going to see that so 2 is so often at the 618. By the way, when it comes to Fibonacci, you'll find that people pronounce these things differently all the time. you know, the some people will say 61.8, for example. I really don't care. I say 618, takes less mouth effort. You call it what you want. It's obviously, in terms of this, out of the box settings on the Fibonacci tool, comes in looking like that, right? Giving you a ratio number, a percentage number, like, you know, whatever. So where will number 3 be at its top end? Okay, where will number 3 be at its top end most likely? And that'll be the 1.618. Okay, the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement zone. Okay, so that's where that would be. So let me just show you a couple of Fibonacci's so you can see what Fibonacci looks like, drawing in a high to a low. I don't like the color of that. I want it to be green. Where's my green style? Nice. So so you'll have a technical need to draw this. I'm going to just pop it on a linear just so it's easier for me when I'm messing around with these Fibonacci's to show you what I mean instead of getting massive gaps on them. Okay, so so you would have a move. So the Fibonacci, so you start off at 0, it goes up, and then you get to the 1. Now, you haven't drawn this in advance. It starts to come back down again. In fact, I've drawn that in the wrong way round, haven't I? Up, and then you got down, and you got up, you got down, okay? And so you draw this in, and at this point here, you know, maybe we've got this low and this high as well, and we're trying to establish where the prices could be going next, you know, so maybe we're trying to see, is this wave 4 and will we get wave 5? So this is what you've already got on the charts, for example. Then you would go up to here and you would say, oh, we came down to the 618. That's a good, we came just beyond it, but it's okay, it's within tolerance overall. Then we went up the way, and we went up higher than our previous one. And how high did we get to? Well, the way you would measure that is between the high there and the low. So you go between 0.1 and 2, and you take it in Fibonacci. So you're measuring this retracement against this downward move, and you'd be looking to the 1618. I almost got my next target at the 1618. Okay, so this 1618, what is that 1618? Well, it means that this length of this here is moved up not only 100% to go back to its high, but also as 68% higher. So I'll just show you in terms of Fibonacci relationships between numbers. 68% of the distance between this high and this low is 68% of the difference between this high and this low, is measuring stick here, is that. Okay, that's 68%. So if I take this if I take the 100% there and add on 68%, you can see it takes us up to 168%. Okay, so you can see that there. Right, so then at this point, what happens? Well, most people are wrong when they use Elliot Wave. Most people are wrong. I actually put out the most insane target for GME yesterday with regards to Elliot Wave. And it's possible to do because, and I'll just show you now. Here's the Elliot Wave chart for GME. So now the way that you would draw in so many instances is probably, you know, this is wrong, right? First off, this is wrong, right? So I'm the first one to tell you that. So don't let it not be told. All we have here is 0 and 1 and 2. You know, we don't really have anything on, but this is speculative, and this is what Elliott Wave is used for. So quite a lot of institutions would say our Elliott Wave analysis on this says that the price of this will go to that, which creates buying volume, and then they sell against that. So JP Morgan used Elliott Wave frequently in the past to talk about the price of silver to then sell into that market and control it, you know, and manipulate the market that way through manipulation of information. Okay, so just be aware that it is used, and it's also used not only for making their own decisions, but for lots of other reasons too, like manipulation of the markets. And also, this isn't ideal. It's not ideal in many ways. Now, if you wanted to use Elliott Wave, how would you use it? Well, you could use it in a number of different ways. At this point, let's be clear, we do want to see wave 2, this second wave from 1 to 2, have a decent retracement on the charts for us. Looking here then at our highs and our lows and trying to be more intensely realistic with regards to Elliott Wave from the market cycle low back at coronavirus crash, then to the next low over here, you would get a 618 Fibonacci retracement. As you can see, that's where the bottom was at there. there for us. Remove that and draw in another Fibonacci here just to give you that extra confirmation about what actually happened. You can see down towards the actual low that resulted that the 1618 comes in here. So then we came up to this point here and then retraced again after that. Where did we retrace to? At that point, this is the low, this is your high. Then we came down to the 50%, not quite the 618, but the 50%. That was, of course, the wave 3 to 4, and then wave 5, often considered to be the biggest, of course, debated. A lot of people say wave 3 is the biggest. It's fucking bullshit, because as you can see, you can arbitrarily choose which points you draw in from anyway. But regardless, wave 5 then took us up towards the 3.414, or you could make a debate easily and say it took us up to a 4.414. So let me just do this small term Elliott wave analysis for us on these on this small movements just here. I'll remove the Ichimoku cloud for us to make the charts a bit clearer. Take out the stupid Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tool, pop it in. There's point 1 up to point 2. There she blows down to point 3. There down to point 2. Sorry, that's point 0 to 1 to 2. There up to point 3. There she blows down to point 4. There she blows, and then wave 5 was either going to be the 1618, the 3414, or indeed up as high as the 4414 overall. That's your Elliott wave analysis. And at this point here at point 3, you could have been looked at point 4, for instance, or at point 2. Let's imagine then at point 2, what you were doing was your Elliott wave analysis. And I'll use the replay tool to make this a little bit easier to make the points for us. Here, you'd be looking at it like this. See, at point 2, you could have made this analysis, right? Now, it wouldn't have been necessarily so jagged in the way that it would have looked at that point. You would have wanted it to look nicer on your charts. So you would have done it like this, right? You would have wanted it to look nice because you want your Elliott wave stuff to look nice. But you would have come in with these targets over here, and it would have looked like this. You would have said, well, wave 3 could go in as high as that. Then maybe we'll see a pullback down to wave 4 in down to this level over here. And then maybe, if we're lucky, we'll see the biggest target up here at wave 5. So the prices then at this point at 2, this is what you would have looked at, right? So where's my replay tool here? So I can see this clicking along nicely. So I just hit forward, right? So you can see, so this is how this would have gone. Now you'd have obviously, our positioning of these things isn't necessarily going to be right in terms of the timing of it. We're just talking about the price points for us here. So then we came up to wave 3, and we went down to wave, we went up a bit higher. Oh, did I have wave 3 drawn in the wrong place there? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Sorry. Whoops, stop. No, I didn't. This is just that I moved wave 4 over. So you can see this would be our target, and then we've had the low in here, and we can see that we achieved that, right? We achieved that. Then we moved up the way. So at this point here, you'd be saying, well, of course, in fact, just, yeah. In fact, I'll just do that again. So you can see here, right? So a couple of things. The positions of these highs and lows in terms of timing, in terms of where we put this in horizontally, left and right, that's up for debate, and I don't really care. But in terms of the vertical arrangement of them, we've gone for clear Fibonacci levels, okay? Fibonacci levels, the guy that invented this, Elliot, didn't use them himself and wasn't really sure how it would work. And what we've done here is combined Fibonacci analysis with Elliott wave, and that's how we come up with these targets, right? So you've got 1, then 2, and then you've got 3 up here, and I've marked it in using that horizontal. Then you've got 4 in here, and I've marked it in using that horizontal. Then you've got target 5 in here, I've marked it in using that horizontal. And I'll just lay these things out for us as well with regards to the highs and lows. So you've got the 618 in here, you've got the 1618 in here. What did we say this was? I'd actually aimed, look, let's be honest, and aim down to the 618, and just be aware that that it doesn't actually hit there. It hits the 50% area. Okay, so we could have had a 50% aim. Let's just actually put in a box at this point, because it's always going to be between the two. I'll just put in a box at this point to kind of display it. So you've got a box in here, right? And then sort of 5618. Look, this is an extremely bullish market, right? So I'm going to aim towards the 4.414 Fibonacci, right? This is extremely bullish. Now, do we ever get 4.414 retracements? Yeah, all the fucking time, man. What did we see on so many other things? Like, just like it happens all the time. But this is going to be an extremely bullish move that'll hopefully come after the point at which people have been broken down by not having actually achieved retracements. Now, the fact of the matter is, as well, when you look at it's just theory, if you don't go past the 618, it's a natural retracement against the trend. So Fibonacci theory is a retracement against the trend. Let me just write this out again here so people can see. Fib theory is retracements against the trend. Retracements against the trend. Retracements against the trend. The trend being towards the top side, the retracements being against them, you know, and then reversion back towards the trend. When you come in here and hit the 618, it means that you've satisfied your retracement against the trend, the retracement against the trend, in this case towards the downside, with the trend being towards the top side, okay? Fibonacci, so when you've done that, you've done it, and then you're going to go on the way, perhaps towards higher targets, you know? Then you're going to have maybe another retracement against the trend, okay? So this is what this is all about. This is what people who do these things, they don't fucking understand the fucking name, right? It's in the name of the tool, etc. Anyway, they don't understand. So then what you're looking to is that you could maybe get that after so many times people have been so beaten down and they're so sad, you know, they're like, oh my god, we're in a downward trend, right? We're in a downward trend, and I want us to come up a wee bit and then continue against it, because they're looking at it against the trend and saying the macro trend's down, and then they get all sad because we never take out these targets here, we never take out the lower side targets, right? And then at this point here, they're sad as they've ever been. They've got they've got five unhappy mouths, right? 5 unhappy mouths, and they say fuck it, and they release their position, and not only that, they flip and go long themselves, and they say let's go on up, baby. And that's what you want to have happen towards your fifth wave, if you're going to be talking about it in these terms, right? By the way, I don't actually use an Elliot Wave analysis all the time. It's not needed for me it's not needed, right? It's not needed. And the majority of people doing this sort of thing are doing it just because they don't know what they're talking about, right? They're doing it because they don't know what they're talking about, and this helps paper over the gaps. You'll not see somebody do Elliott Wave analysis where they talk about it like this. And by the way, again, if somebody out there wants to come along and say, Rocky, I watched what you said there, I actually know what I'm talking about too, and you got this part and this part wrong, by all means, email me, whatever, let me know. And by the way, I also audit my own TA all the time. So this is where we are. So then that would be the 618, this would be the 50 to 60 618% move, and then hopefully going for a big movement up the way on that 414. And as you can see then, in terms of how that worked out here, this is what ultimately happened. Now at this point here, right, so I'll just let it I'll just actually just stop now. Just stop now. So at this point just here where we had the pullback, we didn't quite get down as far as the 618, okay, but then we did continue on up the way, and you could have been looking towards that target. Now that's how this might have worked. This is the 24-hour time frame, by the way, so this is no poxy small thing, and this was analysis that would have taken you from March up until where's that, January 2021. So that was 11 months or 10 months of or something like that, depending on what the exact cutoff, 10 to 9 months of price action explained. Okay, so that's the green one. Now what have we got here? And I've got a blue one on, and you'll recognize this from before. You've got a low down here. It's the same low. The first starting point is the same on both of them. Comes up to a number 1 point like we had here. Let me just zoom on in and put this into context for you. The prices down here were at 357. They went as high as 654. The prices went up 100%. It was a fairly big deal. It's a big deal when that sort of thing happens, okay? Then they dropped back down a wee bit. Anyway, overall here we've had a much bigger move all the way up towards that high, and then we drop back down a bit overall, coming in for our target number 2. Okay, so we got our target number 2, and this was a 618 Fibonacci retracement point. Let me just prove that to you over here. Now I've deliberately done this to put out a deliberately strong my Fibonacci's were not using log scale. Just need to go back on. So my Fibonacci's are using log scale here. Frustrating, right? So just let me, so there we have it. Now it works properly. Now you can see we had a 618 golden pocket in there. Let me just line this up a bit better so you can see that we came in for that towards the golden pocket retrace area. Now we didn't want to be taking it out. Okay, we didn't want to be taking it out, and we didn't want to go down as far as the 50% area. We wanted to see at least 50%, and we didn't want to take out the 618. So we did it. We did step one well enough. Where does step two take you? Did step one? Yeah, then we did step two well enough. Now, where does step three take you as high as? And step three, which is the equivalent of step three in here, which was at 921. So we went from 257 up 100% to 649, down to 350, up then 200% or whatever to $9 and all that sort of stuff. Now here we're doing the same sort of thing, and target 3 takes you into $2,327. Then the pullback from this, and let's just assume as well it does 50%, but it could go as far as a 618. Okay, it could go down as far as a 618, and if it went down as far as a 618, then you're looking to it coming down to $160. That's right, it could have been up at $2,200 and it could drop down $160. And what would the conversation be at that point? And my idea of this is to say that the conversation here would be that we thought the short squeeze had happened. This is us thinking the short squeeze is happening in here. Turns out actually we were wrong, and this is the great old big short squeeze that everybody on Reddit was talking about. And then the prices would drop down 160. The conversation would then be, we've lost 90% of the value of the company. This is clearly over. It's all over. People would say we're going to zero, just like how Eric Crown said that this is going to zero yesterday in his live stream, for example. They say we're going to zero again, talking about it negatively. What's that feel like? It's the same conversation people had here. It's the same conversation people had here. And now conversation that people have in here is they're saying that this is not worth $160. Okay, it's not worth $160, and that would be what they'd be saying there, is that it's come back down to 150, $160. They'd be saying it's gone to zero, etc. That's what they'd be saying. Now, if the prices did turn around at that point, what are you going to see? Well, you're going to see that face that I spoke about, the sad face that not only had one sad mouth, but had 5 sad mouths on top of it. 5 sad mouths. But at this point here, it's not just 5, it's going to be like 555 sad mouths on top of it. Then where does the next target take you into? And we spoke about this before in the run up there. You could be looking between a number of different Fibonacci targets. So let me just take away a lot of these luminous green drawings on here and show you then where your 3 targets could take you to. What we did to establish the targets for 0.4 was we drew in a Fibonacci retracement. Now, so it came down to the 618 between the 2 and 3 point. There you have the 618, of course, over there. That's where that got fulfilled at. And it could go to the 50, it could go to 618. I just went and said 618, okay, as the target for it. Of course, it could go to, we need to establish this along the way as we go. But let's make that assumption and assume, just assume. So this is the 1618 up here, like we had from before. Let me just borrow these numbers so I can show you it with full examples. This here being the 618, this here being the 1618, okay? This, of course, could be 50 to 618, could be that, of course, which is what we had right there. So let me just show you. Now we could be looking up for higher targets. Now, let's just pop that up there for now. We'll come back to that in a second, okay? We'll come back to that in a second, the 4.414. But I'll just show you here that there's a few different targets. Let's start off with the 1618. What is the price of GME shares if they go up to the 1618? And that is, and I'll just write it in nice and big so you can see it, 11,751, and I'll put a dollar symbol and everything at the front of it. Okay, so that would be the 1618 Fibonacci target if wave 5 were to do that. But wave 5 would therefore be the same size as wave 3. Let's assume that we get the 555 unhappy faces and that we go beyond the 1618 and we achieve one of the higher targets. Now there's a few higher targets for us. Let's start off with the 2.24. Where is the 2.24? We're aiming up to go up towards the 4.414. Bear in mind that's just the 3.414 there. We're going beyond that even, right? So let's just do this. 61,186 is the would be your next target. Okay, now you might be wondering to yourself, Rocky, why are you talking about that and saying don't be giving give me any of your crap? Well, it's because of the next two things I'm about to say, okay? So the next two things I'm about to say. Now, we know this. Anybody who watched TradeSpotting knows that he's got a target of $69,420 for this one. Is it crazy to think that something could move between $2,000 or $3,000 and $60,000 in the space of less than a year? Is it crazy? Is it crazy? Is it crazy? Bitcoin price March 20th. 2020 was $3,500, my friends. What's the prices at the minute? $60,000, my friends. I want to point out the fact that we've seen this happen, my friends. I want to point out the fact that we're getting tokenized securities coming up and being traded on crypto exchanges, my friends. I want to point out the fact that we have got, of course, extreme price action happening in things like Tesla, my friends. So is it possible for things to do this even in the traditional world? Yes, it's possible. However, we're going to talk about stuff right now which is going to get me a lot of people saying it's impossible. But if you want to hear it, then you heard it here first. Okay, so if we did go up towards the 3.414, let me just bear in mind that, remind folk that we did this example with the wave 5 here. It could have gone up to the 1618, it could have gone up to the 2, it could have gone up to the 3, but we went all the way up towards the 4 and actually even beyond. Now, in fact, let me show you here. If you go between wave 3 and 4 like this, the 414 is up here at $82 and the prices went as high as $539. Okay, so that's what happened with the 414. If you had taken that for wave 5, would have taken it up to $89. Okay, where we saw the prices coming back down to, etc. thereafter. So let's just do this. Let's do this. I'm sure you're excited to see what the numbers are on this one. Well, the eagle-eyed amongst you might have already spotted this one. I'll just draw it in here. So you got your dollar sign, and then you've got the number. Let's just do it here. It goes 1, 377, 600. Okay, that's your next target on it. That's the 3.414. Now, if things were to go extremely crazy, now we're talking here about Lehman Brothers going bust style. We're talking about billions upon trillions of dollars having to move within the economy to satisfy the machinations and the outcomes from nefarious actors who don't really care about economies or economics. What could the prices go up to? Okay, and this is insane. It's insane. Right? It is insane. I want everybody to know this is insane. I'm just going to keep saying it's insane as I type this. It's insane. It is insane. This is insane. By the way, this is insane. This is insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Right? There you go. There you have it. 19,549,731. That's where the 5 point could take you if it were to do what happened before. Now, this is all just trying to calculate something out, bearing in mind that, of course, we did push up the way beyond that for that $400 price. We're talking $80. So the equivalent in terms of this little wave thing, $89, $90, that's $19 million. Looking up the way towards that, that's, of course, hundreds of millions of dollars at that point. There's no point in even talking about it. It was hard enough typing in the 19 million, Now, is any of that worthwhile at all, So the critics then again, just to come back to Eric Crown and all the rest of it, critics of Elliot Wave would tell you that this analysis here isn't really worth anything. And I would agree, right? I would agree, because if I'm going to tell you at the one point that this could go up towards $2,500 and then come back down to not necessarily where we are now, but anywhere in this region, say it could come back down to $288 after having been at 2,500, that's losing 90% of its value. If it comes down to anywhere in this region at all, then this analysis hasn't been helpful to you. Really, I mean, unless you sold it there and bought it here. If you're buying it at these prices to sell it at 19 million, then it doesn't matter about all these in-between points, and you're not thinking along those lines. If you are thinking along these lines and willfully ignoring 90% of your account value being lost, that's a big problem, and you should probably reconsider it. So you would be taking profits in at $2,000. So I can reconcile a move towards 19 million and selling that thing that's 19 million at $2,000. I can do that, no problem. But then as well, at the same time, you get people saying, well, what's the point in it? This is purely speculative based off of nothing that's actually happened. And I would agree. And I would say to anybody that does any Elliot Wave analysis and they have it projected into the future like this, that it's ludicrous. Okay, this is ludicrous and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. but I would probably suggest it's more educational, entertaining, and exciting than anybody else on YouTube doing this analysis, and moreover, it's probably also more accurate, right? And by probably I mean 99.999999999% sure of it. Okay. Right. Okay, so that would be that. Now, is this realistic? Let me just one last time say that's insane, but I've built up a big picture here and I was showing people how it would work. Now, do you want me to do, if anybody, I think in terms of education, we've covered all of your bases here for just getting started using Elliot Wave if you wanted to. Now, at this point, if you wanted to go back to a traditional world, not a traditional world, another chart, and take a look at it and try and establish Elliot Wave type stuff on there. You know, is it possible to do it? Is it possible to do it? Like, what if we take from this low up here? Can we use Elliot Wave in this section over here? It's a bit of a struggle, isn't it? It's a bit of a struggle, you know, take it from that low up to where a high would be. And have we had any satisfactory pullbacks along the way? Not very wavy, is it? Going up, this is 24-hour time frame, and this is a move between $3,000 and $60,000. So how would Elliot Wave have helped you in this period between $3,600 and $64,500? How would Elliot Wave have helped you during that phase there? Not very clear, is it? But then you go back looking for like charts where you've got a bit more of that whole uppy downiness on it, so you can kind of do that on there. V-shaped recoveries do that to people. So you know you can start off from somewhere else. Absolutely, start off from somewhere else, no problem. But it's the parabolic markets don't lend themselves to Elliott Wave, and that would be the section. This would be the section here that you would have with that GME move. You know, it just wouldn't really. It would just look parabolic, and there'd be nothing that you could do to do TA and around those sections that would help the likes of, sorry to say it yourself out there, you know, chances are. Now, of course, if you don't include yourself, if that doesn't apply to you, that's fine. You know, I didn't, you know, then that doesn't include you. That's fine. So could there have been ways that you could have done this in the past? What was that? I've just had another one.
Been late to the stream, but can't wait to watch this back.
Oh, thanks, Griffin. Yeah, you'll enjoy it, I'm sure. There's bits of it you won't enjoy. There's bits of it you will enjoy. The Elliott Wave stuff. AMC, Elliott Wave. I've talked about AMC and GME in today's show. Over here to this high, you can see we did get the 618 Fibonacci retracement in the end. It came in just there, drawing in the Elliott Wave, going from 0.1 to 0.2 to 0.3, then on up the way. Where's 0.4 at? Where could it be? 0.3, maybe it's there. Like, let's measure this back afterwards, so we'll just audit what we're saying. Let's measure it there, and then 0.5. We'll just stick 0.5 up there for now, because, you know, this is historical stuff. So Elliott Wave stuff. In the past, Bitcoin prices hit a low in this point here in January 2015. Bearing in mind the price of Bitcoin back here was $149 per coin. Okay, the price of $149, where did it go to? $309, where did it go down to? To 196. This was a 618 Fibonacci retracement from those 2 points. Then it went up the way. Let's establish what Fibonacci retracement number it came in at. There's the 1618, came in at the 2.24. Okay, so that's wave 3, came in at the 2.24. You would have been aiming up here towards the 1618. You might have thought to yourself that you would have had a retrace from the 1618 of about a 618, you know. So if that had been what you've been thinking, you'd have been going up, measuring it like this and looking for a 618 to come in around about here. Didn't happen. Or the 50% around about here did happen. So you know, you're looking between the 50 and the 618. Bear in mind as well, logarithmic chart, big movements between these two, big enough movements between those two areas. So then, yeah, so you got your 50% retrace in here, near enough, and then we continued on up the way. Where do we want to take the next? Where do we want to take the fifth wave into? Where do you want to take the fifth wave into? Ba-dum bum, ba-dum bum, ba-da-bum bum, ba-da-dum bum. So from the high on the 3 down to the low on the 4, and saying that 1618, well, it was in here. Ultimately, we did come in there. Right? Ultimately, we did. We would have gone down the way. This is again another of that useless impact of the useless effect of Elliot Wave, right? You could say, because all of these targets were satisfied. The 4.414, sure, we did come in at that price point later on. The 3.414, sure we did. The 2.4, sure we did. Sure we did, couple of times, etc. The 1618, sure we did. So, so can we get any of those targets? Yes, we can. Absolute mont, my friend. That means $2,000 as the Wave 3 target, totally realistic. $12,000 as the Wave 5 target, totally realistic. Craziness kicking in, and the price is going up towards 61,000. Totally realistic. It's like super realistic. And possible. Now, TA would tell you that you've had a blow off top on GME and AMC, and that they're going to, fail to recover up the way. I would hesitate to say that because we never had a trend and move up the way, which came in with divergence or anything like that. We had enthusiasm, which came in, which saw mass manipulation of the markets, in a way that was actually publicly discussed, unlike how it's all done behind closed doors in crypto land, and various other things that make me actually discount that. Discount the blow off top part in a way that I actually wouldn't with regards to crypto.